Okay guys, so now in this video we're gonna start creating the dandelions flowers, and then here is a quick reference that I pulled. So you can see the dandelion flowers, like the main plant, it have like multiple flowers coming from it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we wanna simulate something like that. And then for the leaves, we're gonna use a texture we're gonna provide you guys that we created for it, so you can use it. But we're gonna create the main plant here in Maya together. So let's do that. Let's minimize and let's go to the Windows, General Editors, and let's go to the content browser. It's the same like what we did with the shrub. And then under flowers here, you can see before we was under plants, meshes. So this is where we use the bushes, and then let's go to flowers, and that's where we're gonna go into the dandelion yellow. So let's select it, and let's go to the viewport, and you can see if you hold B, like what we did with the shrub, we can change the scale. You hold B and then left mouse and drag. So something like this. Then let's just draw one dandelion like this. Oh, sorry, I did two. So let's undo both and then let's draw one. Okay, so that's good. So let's close the content browser, and then this is what we have for now. And let's start working on these settings. So let's select it, and then you can see here this settings here under the stroke shape. We don't need to change anything. This is all good. We need to go to this dandelion yellow, and this is where we're gonna start changing. So let's close all these tabs, and let's start from the top. So as what we did with the shrub, we're not gonna go through all the settings. We're just gonna go a few of them that's gonna make the biggest difference. Okay, so first under the global scale, we can scale it down a little bit, so it's not like that big, something like this. And then the next thing we're gonna do is like we can go to the mesh, and then we want to make sure we don't have too high poly. So let's reduce this something like 3. So when it's convert to polygons, it's not gonna be as dense. Okay, and then the next thing we're gonna go, as always, you can go into tubes and the creation. That's where basically the magic happens. You can say this is all where we can add all the details. So first choose per step. That's important one, because then we can here enhance and increase the number of dandelions. As you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's add 5. So let's see. So we had 3. 5 or 6, something that looks nice. Something like this could be good. Let's randomize even more, see what we got. So 500 seems a good number. They scattered nicely around each other, as we can check from the reference here. Okay, so let's keep going with the settings here. And then the next thing we can check is basically this segments section. We want to make sure it doesn't have too much segments, because we want to lower it down. So let's go something 18. That should be good. Just lower it down a little bit. And then the length we can adjust as well. So now want to make sure, as you can see, the dandelions, the flower is not as big as the leaves. So the leaves are really big. But in our case here, the flowers are big and then the leaves are small. So let's keep working on the settings to change that. So the length, let's lower it down so they're not as high. So maybe like 190, something like this. And then the max length, we can enhance it a little bit more. Okay. And then let's keep going with the settings. And let's scroll down. This is all fine. We don't need to change. You can play with the settings and see which one works. Here we can keep it the same, and then let's go on to the growth. And then we don't need to use the buds. We can remove the buds. So you can see here the buds here, this inside, we can remove it. So you can see it's just gonna make it much better and less heavy when we convert it to polygons. Then let's keep scrolling down to branches. We don't need to use anything. Twigs we don't need. And then under leaves, this is where we're gonna keep working to enhance. So the first thing here, you can see we can enhance the leaf length, so we can make it bigger, something like this. And then the base width and the tip width, that's also very important. So let's enhance, make it bigger here with something like this. And then the tip width, just enhance it a little bit more. We're trying to make it like even, so this way we can show you the textures. So this is the texture we're gonna be applying, and then this is a mask. We're just trying to make it like an even, like a card. So this way when you apply the texture, it looks nice and doesn't have any like stretching or weird stuff going on. And then the leaf length is important because from the reference, these leaves are really long, and some dandelions even have longer than this. So we're trying to average between them. So this is something could be pretty good. Okay, and then the next thing, we need to keep going until we reach toward the leaf bend, and this is where we can start bending the leaves. So if we scroll here, you can see we're bending them. So we want something not much, you know, like something 0.5 should do. And you can see now how these leaves are curling like not natural way, because in our reference the leaves, they kind of like flat. They have some curling, but they kind of like now sideways, these leaves. So you wanna scroll down and then change the settings, and then under this leaf curl, that's where we're gonna change that. So you can see here the leaf facing the sun. So let's start adjusting that, and then you can see how I start bending them to show correctly. We don't wanna do like too much. We can like keep them a little bit bent, so it's more natural. But this something should be pretty good. We don't need to worry about the orientation, because it's gonna render correctly. Okay, so this is how it looks so far. We're getting close to making it look final. And then let's scroll down here to the leaf segments. Now this leaf segments just have too many polys in the leaf. We don't need this much. Since we're gonna be using this as a card, we need the minimum to give us some nice effects. So maybe something around 4. You can see it looks pretty good. It have nice amount of bend, but still a much lower poly. And you can also experiment. See, you don't want something like too much like this. That's really weird. So 4, it does the job for us to make it look nice, and will do. Okay, so let's scroll down now into the flowers section. And then this flower section, we need to change some settings as well here. We just basically wanna just keep playing with these. Let's start working with this number of flowers. So basically this is, as you can see, it reduces the amount of these, let's say the petals or the flowers. We don't want too much again, because you wanna make it relatively low poly. As you can see here, there is pretty good amount, but you know, we're gonna cheat it a little bit, since we're not gonna be focusing on, like, these flowers are not like the main focus, but we want them to be in the background, so to have a nice look. So this is good. 65 does the job. And then the petal length, we can also adjust that. Now it's 0.8. As you can see, we can make it bigger or smaller. But in this case, if you look at the reference always, you can see they kind of pretty small comparing to the body. So now it's okay, like they kind of fine. We could leave it as it is, or we can just lower it just a little bit. So maybe like something 0.7. That will do pretty good as well. Because some dandelions are really like small, and some they bigger. So we're trying to do the average. Like sizing. Okay, so that's pretty good. Maybe we can make it 75, just increase it a little bit. And then let's keep going down. Scroll down if there's something we could change here. So into the petals here, we can maybe adjust the segments as well, because this is gonna, you know, add more polys to it, and I want to make sure don't want to have too much poly, so let's change it from 4 to 1. So you can see it's not a big difference. So this is 4, like it have a nice bend, but 1, it's kind of does the job. Like it's again, it's gonna lower the poly count, which is gonna help us a lot because we're gonna be spreading a lot of these, like hundreds of them. So it's nice to lower the poly as much as we can while still maintaining it to look relatively good. So 2 doesn't make too much difference, so let's keep it 1. Let's keep it 1. And then last thing, we can go down into the behavior and under forces, and then here we can adjust like how is the gravity affecting our flowers. So now let's add some bend to them, because if you look at the reference, there's some bend and there's something going on. So they're not really like very straight. We do have that built into our flower, but let's also change the path attract. If we put it -1, you can see the difference. If we put it so back to 0, it was like this. So they all like leaning toward each other. So this way we can open it up, and then we have a more variation. So you can keep changing, adjusting these settings to reach something that looks kind of nice. So maybe something like this should be good. -1. So this way basically we have this dandelion finished, and in the next video we're gonna basically texture it and then finalize it so we can use it in Arnold. And we're gonna also create a variation of it. Once we go into the texturing, we're gonna create, now that we have yellow, we can create like a purple one, and then maybe a red one. You know, just a variation. I know there is no like a red dandelion or yellow, but this is, we're gonna scatter them around. It's not gonna be noticeable if it's dandelion or not, so it's gonna be fine. It's a quick way to reuse the same flower and just to change the color of it and the seed, so this way it looks really nice. Okay, so we'll see you in the next video.